I wanted to make a video showing you some of our styling options for our funnel builder. So you can see I built this page in our funnel builder. It's nothing too complicated, but there are some cool things in here that you could do for your funnels to make them look just a little bit nicer, a little bit prettier. So the first thing I want to look at is when you come in, you can actually go up to settings and you can put background settings straight in here. It's going to be kind of like a global background setting. And then you can also go to typography and you can put global settings for headline fonts and then content fonts, pick colors, link colors, everything up there. The next thing I want to kind of show is that there's quite a few layers in here. So when you come to style, you have to kind of pay attention to these and use them, manipulate them to get the look that you're going for. So you can see that this green section is the section layer. Like it's actually called the section layer. And then we've got one that's the column layer. Actually, no, this is the row. So if you come out, this is the row layer. This is the column layer. And then this is the actual element. So this element is an image. And you can see those across everywhere. So that's why there's so many bright colors popping up as you're scrolling past. And each one of these can be edited and manipulated so that you can get the exact look that you're going for. One of the most basic things, so if you drop in an image, you want to come in here, move this out of the way. This image, actually, when I dropped it in, was huge, and that's clearly not going to work. So you can sit here and mess with this to get the desired effect that you want, as big or small. And then up here, you know, padding is great. Like you can come in here and you can manipulate this left, or I mean, you can make it really dramatic if you want. Same thing with the right side. You can do top padding, bottom padding, and then this will probably be easier to see on this outer layer, but margin is kind of the space outside of what's highlighted. So you can see that's making a white space outside of what's highlighted. You can also put the background color. You can select any of the colors that we have here. We have transparent, we have an overlay. You can pick your own color. So if you have a color picker, you can come and put that color in, or if you click here, you can select the color in here, and then, you know, basics you can use. You can make it more transparent or not, and then you just click add color and it would show up in here. And then you can select any color that you want. Box shadow is a little hard to see on this one because it's dropping onto a gray one, but this is a box shadow right here. So you see how this line or this kind of shading under here, it just gives more of a three-dimensional look. And you can actually do a drop shadow up or a drop shadow down or an inner shadow. So we'll make this really dramatic so you can see it. And I see this box where we just edited that, like this shading all around it, that kind of gives it more dimension. So that's what that shading is going to do for you. And you can also set a background image here, which I will show you guys down here. So I just used a URL link, and you can copy the address of an image. You can even go to Google and just copy the address of an image if you want to test this out and use it. And when I first dropped this in here, it looked like that, which is not super great for what I wanted. So you want to play around with the image options to get it kind of where you want it and make it look nice, make it look fancy. So yeah, the next thing that you can do on top of these options, you can go to advanced and you can add borders to things. So that's a full border, which you can see is just kind of sectioning that off. It's not really a place I'd want to put a border typically. So this is actually one where I wanted to put a border here, which you can see I put a full border, and then you can make it solid, you can do dotted, dashed. How thick do you want that to be? And then you can change the border color. So do I want this to be red? You know, whatever. You can come in here and customize it how you guys would like. And then the radius is, you'll see the corners. Yeah, so the corners get a little bit less like angled and more rounded. And you can make this really dramatic if you want. Or just a subtle little, so it's not just a straight box. And you can also change the edges in here. And one of the cool things that you can do in the advanced tab is also you can decide if you want this to be visible on desktop. So now that I removed that, it's no longer available on desktop mode, which you can see we're in desktop mode. So you can bring it back like that, and then you can make this desktop only. So I just removed it from mobile. So if I went to the mobile side right now, I wouldn't be able to see it. And you'll be able to see that through desktop only or mobile only if you're on the mobile site. So one of the other cool features that you can look at is when you drop buttons in here, there's definitely some more features. So not only can you select colors, and you can determine if you want the mobile size to be different from the desktop, at least for the font size in here. You can pick icons. So I put an arrow right here. You can pick one that goes after as well. Coloring options, more padding. And then what's really cool is in the advanced options, you can actually pick button effects in here. So this one is a wobble. That's the wobble. Pretty cool. And then the button shadow. So this might not look like much on this one because it's already over a dark background. But if you come look at this one, it's actually got quite a bit of a shadow around it. So no shadow. It just looks more flat. Dark with highlight. So you can see how that really makes it pop forward more, and you can play around with this. We have quite a few options in here to use. And yeah, so these are quite a few different options. The big thing that you want to pay attention to is that there's all these different layers that you can make these adjustments on. And you can use these different layers to manipulate the sizing, the margin, everything like that. You can put shadows on things to make them look more three-dimensional. You can put borders on things to make it look, you know, almost like it's a separate form. And you can actually drop a form in here, put the form, embed it in here, like a name and email, something like that, and then put a button at the bottom. This section where you can kind of see the image in the background, the way that you can do that is if you edit in here, the background color is actually an overlay. So that way it can make it kind of shaded, but so you can see the text, but you can also still see the image through it and not make it too boxy and solid like this one over here. I don't want to make this video too complex because a lot of what you're going to do is going to be just coming in here and learning, and that's how you're going to, you know, figure out what works best for you. But every time you put a new element in here, it's great to like come in and then you can check the settings. Different elements have different settings. So this is a countdown element, which means, you know, we need to have like an end date that you can pick in here, end time, the time zone, and then what happens if this is expired? Do you want this to redirect or hide an element? And, you know, then we have the advanced setting again, which is going to be the visibility, desktop or mobile. So each time you add a new element in here, you'll just want to come and actually play around with the settings and see if they have something unique for you to mess around with. But it's pretty customizable for anything you want. And what's really cool too is like you see these are two different columns that are dropped in here, which this is the one column, you see the purple, and then this is another column, and then this is an element, and then these are the elements inside this one. But what's really cool is you can drag and drop these. So, you know, not drag and drop, but you can drag these to resize them. So anytime, you know, if you want to change this around, I wanted this to be perfectly centered. So I actually made a 3-column row, and all I did was drag these to center it rather than making one row and then trying to center it that way. So there's quite a few creative ways that you can come in here and get the look that you're after. I suggest just coming, playing with the settings, making sure you check the general and the advanced settings. And again, you can use this to really help yourself out if you have different text that you want, different fonts that you want to use, or global background, and then duplicating elements as well is something that can be really helpful. So you don't have to go through and make everything again and again. So there's a duplicate or a clone button right here for elements. And then as soon as you do that, you can just drag and drop. And I hope that this was helpful for you guys.